Boom.
And I think we're live. I think we're here. I think you're here. Hello, everybody.
Hello,
welcome to another,
folks.
hopefully, wonderful episode of Primetime Aquatics. Live and in your face. Live and all up and in your face this fine Thursday evening.
That's not a slogan.
It is a slogan now.
I don't like it.
Yeah, Primetime Aquatics. We're live and all up in your face. Or we could just go back to the original.
No.
What time is it? It's prime time with your boy Jason and your girl Joanna. It's been a while since we've said that one. How y'all doing?
Waffle.
Yeah, glad you're here. We have got a lot of things to talk about this evening. Did you know that? We are going to be talking a lot about plants, like the plant on your shirt. Yep, it's true.
On you, my ode to the Anubius and its love for rocks.
Man, we're both going to the Wayback Machine. I got the old school, whatever this is, orange
or red. I think I called it red.
Well, we had two. This was an orange, and then there was a red as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Totally blinked that out. You're right. Orange.
So you should know right from the beginning. Remember last week, a certain someone was sick. And remember how she was joking about how, I'm going to give it to this guy over here. Well, guess what happened earlier this week? Yeah, I got sick. So
sharing is caring.
If for some reason, hold on, I'm going to take these. Be wonderful.
Oh, do you have your?
No, I just have these little guys. Are these even cough drops?
Yeah, they are. They're little tiny ones.
These aren't going to do anything.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my gosh, I thought this was a bigger package. Anyway, if for some reason I exit stage
left immediately,
you're going to know it's because my voice is gone, or it's cracking, or it's coughing, or something's going to happen. But I think we're going to try very hard to get through this situation tonight. We do have a giveaway a little bit later. We are going to be talking more specifically about plants and why they melt, why they die, what to do about it, things to look for. So we're going to go into a little bit of detail tonight on what exactly you're looking for when it comes to why your plants are dying and how to fix that situation. So hopefully you'll enjoy that.
Do you want your glasses?
Why do I need these?
I don't know.
First of all, these aren't mine. These are yours.
They're not mine.
Yeah, she does two sets of glasses. I see her down here all the time.
That wouldn't do any good. I've got those built into these suckers.
I wouldn't know because I don't need glasses. So anyway.
Did you hear that, Noelle? Did you hear that?
Videos that have happened over the course of this last week on Sunday. I don't remember the video I did because it's already Thursday. Do you remember what I did? Do you? You probably don't either, do you?
I should because I watched it.
Sponge filters.
Sponge filters.
What size, how much flow you need. So if you are a sponge filter
fanatic
person or someone who is considering being a sponge filter person, that video may be for you. On Monday, on the Tank Talk podcast, we also did a podcast on something I'm really not prepared at all with the whole video portion of this.
You're still getting over.
My head's foggy. So basically I've gone like 3 or 4 days and not had a whole lot of really good sleep. So that's what you get. But if you want to know what we talked about, John and I, on the Tank Talk podcast on Monday, I suggest after the live stream, you just go there and listen to it. We did get, whatever we did talk about, a lot of positive feedback on that one. So that was pretty cool. Let's see here. What else happened this week? Yesterday on the small scape. Do you at least remember what you did?
I do.
Okay.
I talked about fails in your aquarium, and I used like volunteer. My tank was demonstrating, so we kind of fixed it together. Some issues that I'm having, but yeah, I thought it would be.
Did you fix all of your issues, or just what is going on here? Why is that shiny? Did you fix all your personal issues along with your tank issues, or just you focused on the tank in this video? It wasn't like a sit-down session where you just sit there and be like, "I'd now like to talk about all my
problems,
issues." Yeah,
all my issues. No, that would be like a marathon video.
Yeah, that's why we'd have to hammer out in the live stream since I'd be present. You could just keep pointing all of my issues
and going.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see here. That was yesterday. Today, prime timers, we talked about, some fish were out in the fish room, so I wanted to show those off because they're not out very often. And then, what is that? Sunday. I've got another really fun video coming out on this channel right here.
Wow.
Right here, but just in a couple of days.
Wow.
So hopefully it'll be pretty awesome.
Wow. Pretty good,
Wow,
right?
wow, 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 wow.
No, wow.
Yeah, but
That's
I
my
don't remember what
Christopher
that's from.
Walken impersonation. Wow.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. JR, thank you so much for being a prime time in the last 11 months. Just want to say hi to my
Wow.
favorite fish channel to watch. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you're here hanging out with us tonight. So, places, by the way, this Saturday, there is.
Are you sure?
I am.
I'm going to double check it.
Okay, we'll go
this
ahead and
time.
double check, but
I
I'm
should.
94% sure that there is, in fact, a Greenwater Aquarius Society swap. Again, we don't have a booth there anymore, but there's a decent chance we'll be by there at some point later, I think, in the morning. So, yeah,
Gotta
looking
get
forward to it
some
because
goodies.
I need some plants. And I actually, if they've got the fish that they normally have there are some fish that I actually want to get at that swap.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell you. You are just going to have to be surprised. I'll buy them in secret while you're not looking.
I'll find out in the car.
I'll buy them in secret while you're not looking, spending money.
Right? While I'm at Rink's booth
Yep.
getting some fun little plants.
Hey, whatever. So tonight, like I said, again, just for those of you who came in a little bit later, we do have a giveaway a little bit later. We are going to be talking about why it can be really frustrating keeping a planted tank. Your plants are starting to melt. They're starting to die. Let's face it. It's pretty awesome when you can look at your tanks and be like, wow, look at all these green plants or bronze plants or even red if you've got those. And when a planted tank is doing well, to me, it's not twice as rewarding as a fish tank only fish tank that's doing well. It's like 10 times more rewarding because when the plants are doing well, there's just a whole nother element to what you've done with that ecosystem. It's, and I'm sure a lot of you can attest to this, especially when you're a first beginner. It's a lot easier to keep a fish only aquarium healthy than it is to do a fish plus plants and have it all figured out and get it to be balanced so that you're not getting algae everywhere and you're not having dead plants. And so I get that. And our goal tonight is to talk about some of those things as to why, not only talk about why your plants may not be doing well, but also talk about what you can do to fix it.
You need to read Emma's comment.
Emma, first of all, thank you for being a prime time over the last 13 months. Just some key points. Corey's are the best fish. Wearing glasses is for cool kids. And I'm still waiting on the satin jacket. Me too. I'm still waiting on the satin jacket too. But there's a certain somebody who's holding up the show.
Well, we ran into some issues. So I'm going to throw this out there. What do you think about like for spring? Because there's other things. There are other things like it's like a planet and or a sun and all the planets going around it. There's a whole bunch of working like
Spring does
moving
not
things.
say satin jacket.
Yes,
to
it
me.
does.
No, it doesn't.
Emma, wouldn't you? Satin jacket to me says spring. It doesn't say warm
Sat-
fall
No,
or winter.
Spring to me says, man, I'm almost going to be putting my shorts on.
No, not
I
in
don't know.
Chicagoland.
Well, okay, but there's the rest of America.
I mean,
We'll have to figure that out.
yeah, but don't worry. I want one too. I want one real bad.
Thank you very much. I did watch
you.
your podcast, and there was nothing wrong with driving your Subaru. I know that. I'm perfectly okay.
Did you have a
came
battle
up, man.
truck
yeah.
versus Subaru?
Yeah, we did, and I stood firm, and I'm okay with it. I am perfectly
I never
okay
would
with
have
it.
thought I'd seen the day.
It's a fine automobile, okay?
It is. It's
I
very
enjoy
nice.
it.
I enjoy driving it. Remember
Can we
when
talk about plants now?
Yes.
Okay.
I want
So,
my shirt and everything.
excuse me. First thing, and I'm going to give you some, hopefully, decent footage of this. This is a tank that got a little bit overrun with algae because I think the first thing you have to consider if your plants are not doing well, the easiest thing to check is what's going on with your lights. So there's two things that can be happening, obviously. You could be, well, a few things actually. You could be leaving your lights on too long.
Mm-hmm.
You could be leaving them on not long enough. A lot of people don't realize this, but they could also be too bright
Sure can.
and not bright enough.
I remember that tank. Oh,
So you could have a tank, you could have a situation where your lights are on, let's say, a really long time, but you also don't have very bright lights, and so it's not making as big of an impact, right? And it actually turns out decently okay. You could have a situation where like, man, my lights really aren't all that long. They're not on all that long, but holy cow, are they bright. I'll give you a really good example of this. Different lights, especially when you get into the lower tiers, are going to have different brightness and different light spectrum. Beamswork lights, I don't use them. The reason I don't use them is not because, oh, they're the inexpensive light and I'm far too cool for that. That's not it at all. I was having a hard time figuring out, based on their intensity, how long to leave them on for because they're extremely bright. So Beamswork, they're very, very inexpensive. And they will light up. They're like basically putting a small sun, right? Just taking the sun, cracking it into like a 3-foot strip, and then being like, boom, here you go, fish tank. And everybody's like, fish are all like, dude, what's going on here? And the fish are all getting a tan and all that stuff. So you got to be really careful with that. So can you talk a little bit about, I know we know that light duration, right? If your lights aren't on long enough, okay, that could be a problem, right?
Yep.
You might need to consider leaving them on longer. If they're on too long, that's going to create algae issues and do all kinds of other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about lights that are too bright? What kind of situation could you see where that would be a problem?
Algae.
Absolutely.
Because you're just getting way too many nutrients, and especially if, which a little teaser, spoiler, in my tank, I went for my 3-gallon that I most recently set up. I went for a very specific look. There's a specific look that I had to have, and I did it. However, the length of time it's going to take for those plants to grow in, there just wasn't enough of them. The lights, actually, what's the brand that's on there? It's not. I always want to call it a Higer. It's not a Higer. Anyways, it's just a little 12-inch light. It puts out a decent amount of light, and I just have it on the timer as the same one as the other timer. So my 22, I think, and immediately within like a week, maybe 2, hair algae. Says, how do you do? So that's really the biggest thing for me. That's
but there's another thing as it pertains directly to the plants.
Well, they're going to grow faster.
Maybe.
Or maybe even, or it depends if you have like low light plants, then that's going to not go very well. For like Anubias can get very angry very fast. Even Boost doesn't much care for it.
That's been my biggest problem with lights that are too bright, and that's why I've said it a million times with the tanks that are behind us now. They're only at about 30-ish% of their max intensity because we have so many crypts, so many Anubias in these aquariums. If I turn these lights on a lot brighter, I'm going to get the algae issues. But the bigger concern is I'm going to burn all the Buse, all the Anubias. It's going to die. And a lot of people don't fully appreciate that if your lights are too bright and you've got low light plants, you could basically zap them out of existence just because the lights are too bright.
So I think it's very helpful, and this is something that I typically haven't done in the past. Know exactly what light you are putting on the tank before you even scape it. Because say you have a light it's really bright, puts out a lot of light, and you want to use some low light plants, you're going to need to know where to place those. They're going to have to be kind of tucked under driftwood. You're going to have to plan your plants above to make sure that they get covers, because you can keep low light plants in something that's getting higher, but you do have to kind of have a plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So lights, what we do, I know for those of you, you're probably sick of hearing me say this, but just for those of you who haven't heard it, we have our lights on for 9 hours a day, 3 hours in the morning, 6.5 hours at night. And so they're on when we would most likely be down here, although I'm down here all day and I'm just sitting here in the dark more or less. But that has really worked for us based on the light intensity that we have all around the fish room. So that's a good starting point. You can always dial it a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on your setup. Okay, the next thing that I want to mention is the reason why plants could be dying is what's going on with substrate. And this is going to lead directly to a discussion about plant nutrients. All right, so substrate, we've said it a long time. What's better, gravel or sand?
Sand.
And I say it doesn't matter. So sand looks better, but in terms of
sand.
planting plants, it's easier to plant plants a lot of times in sand. I would say.
But gravel will hold them down better
Mm,
with some of them.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's potentially true. But the inert gravels and sands are fine. But what are we adding?
Root tabs, some sort of nutrients.
Yeah, we're adding some type of root tab. People ask all the time, hey, can I do a base layer of aqua soil or dirt or eco-complete? Absolutely. And then you want to cover that with sand. That's fine too. I've just found it to be a little bit easier. And then we can also, our tanks are going to be a little bit more versatile if we're just using an inert substrate and adding root tabs. Now, here is why you want to do this. And I think the easiest way to do this is just to show you a picture that I found on the internet. Okay, so what we've got here are basically, and some of you have probably seen this before, but this is a picture of all the different things, and I want to kind of just go through these real fast so you can learn how to identify if you've got a nutrient deficiency, whether it's coming from the substrate or you've got a nubius or wisteria or water sprite or hornwort or whatever, and those plants are mostly water column feeders, but you've got a nutrient deficiency. So, nitrogen. To me, that's the biggest one. That is probably the most important one. It's the one that plants really like to use, but it's also, to me, the easiest one to fix, in my opinion. Reasons why you need it. Plants, it's vital for their leaf growth. And so you can see here, in a nitrogen deficient plant, the leaves are going to be a lot smaller. They're going to be yellow. You might not get any growth at all. And so a nitrogen deficiency is one of those things. And guess what? It's also super easy to measure, right? You can throw in, how are my nitrates doing? Oh my gosh, they're at 4 parts per million or 5 parts. It's like, if you've got a fish only tank, hey, that's pretty good. You've got a planted tank, you're like, they could be getting a little hungry, right? Mm-hmm. So that's basically what you're looking at in terms of nitrogen. Now, again, easy to fix. If you've got an all-in-one fertilizer, that will do it. Usually all the liquids, all the root tabs are going to supply plenty of nitrogen. Believe it or not, for us, in all of our tanks, we're just relying on the fish. And that has pretty much provided a very good balance between nutrients and what the plants actually need. Okay, next one. And I'll move this picture out of the way in a second because I'm not going necessarily in order. That would be phosphorus, right, or phosphate, right? So you can see the picture at the bottom. Let me move this up a little bit so that you can see what's going on. There we go. So the phosphate is over here. And so now you can see, okay, this is a different situation that we've got going on. The phosphate's super important. So for those of you who don't know, the phosphate, that P, is part of ATP. Now, you old biology students might remember that ATP, adenosine triphosphate, that is the energy currency inside of cells. Now, these organisms are photosynthetic, but they still rely on ATP in order to power the vast majority of reactions that are happening inside of the cells for your plants. And so if you have a phosphate deficiency, that's going to be bad on many, many different levels. And so you might wind up, you'll see that those, sometimes the leaves will get like a kind of a bluish tint or a dark green. The older leaves, you're going to see that they get the small holes. They start to die back. And now some of these things, a lot of these look the same, right?
Yeah.
If you've got an anubias plant or something like that, it's probably not going to flower if you've got a phosphate issue where it's too low. Again, this is one, you're going to have phosphate in a lot of your liquid fertilizers especially. And depending on the brand that you buy, some of them have more phosphate than others. And so if this is a problem for you, might be worth checking out those fertilizers that have a little bit more. This is also why sometimes I recommend, even if your nitrate concentrations are in line because you have a planted tank, some of the micronutrients that we get into here in a little bit can actually be replenished to a certain degree with your water, depending on your water source. All right. Next one is potassium. All right, so then you can see the potassium here. It's got those holes in it, just kind of like the phosphate did. And so you're gonna get the pinholes. You might get the yellowing of the leaves as well. All right. The new growth is gonna look gnarly. And usually a lot of times the leaves are gonna be all curled up and everything. And again, just like with the phosphate, you can get potassium. There's going to be potassium in a lot of your ferts as well. Now, the micronutrients, again, we have to be careful here because nitrates, phosphates, potassium to a certain extent, we're not going to really address it here, sulfates, those things, macro means large. When you mess that up, a lot of times you wind up with just algae, and then you got to water change that out. The micronutrients, I feel like you got to be a little bit more careful. Micro means small, so these are nutrients that are required in far smaller concentrations, one of which is iron.
Mm-hmm.
Iron. So this one, again, you can see the picture here. Leaves are going to get yellow. Sometimes they almost look like a white. Sometimes they'll have a greenish vein to them. All right, if you've got an iron deficiency, that's typically going to happen in the newer leaves. The older leaves might look a little bit more normal. So with iron, again, a lot of the liquid fertilizers, a lot of the stuff that you would put in a root tab, it's going to be there, but in very small concentrations. My recommendation to you, be careful. If you think you have an iron deficiency, really, really watch that, because if you add too much iron, yeah, you can kill your plants, but you can also kill your fish. So some fish are going to be sensitive to iron. So you just want to be careful if you start dosing that, these next few things, that you be careful. All right. It's sometimes it's a little bit better to go under the recommended amount, because another thing with this stuff is it can be hard to measure. So again, with nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, that can be a little bit easier to measure, but with these micronutrients, much more difficult. Magnesium is another one. And so with magnesium, again, what you're seeing here, some of the older leaves, what you're going to wind up having is they're going to be slower growth, all right, which is going to be a problem. You're going to usually have a greenish sort of leaf, light green, maybe yellowish tissue, but then you're going to see, like you see here, the greener veins, all right? Again, provided that your plant is green. This only really is useful if your plants are green. If they're purpley, then most of what I say sort of mostly kind of applies, but the shades of the colors are going to be a little bit different. Last one, or second to last one, and that's calcium. And so, again, a lot of times, especially if you have harder water, you're going to, and if you've got well water, many of you know things like iron might be something you have to be a little bit concerned about, but a lot of times magnesium is going to be in the water. Things like calcium, that will often be in the water. It might be bound to other things, but it can eventually be freed by the plant if it's available. And so the calcium here, let me move our little faces down here a little bit more. So now you can see the calcium over there. Leaves are looking a little bit gnarly, as you can see. And so these newer leaves are going to appear kind of twisted up. And in fact, it's kind of interesting because as I was going through this, I was looking at the plants in the gallery. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Now we're starting to see some of that the calcium deficiency in some of our sword plants especially. And so distorted the necrotic tips. And so you're going to start to see the plants that are like, oh, you know what? If you've got that dying back from the edges, that could certainly be an issue. So the calcium, to me, again, if you've got decently hard water, that's one you can fix. Magnesium is one that you can fix. Manganese is the last one. And so that one is not really, do I have it on this picture? Not really. So I'll just explain that one real fast. Again, it's a micronutrient. They're going to usually, the newer leaves are going to show more of like yellow spots, which is actually kind of common, right? When you have that, when you get yellow spots or the patches, it's kind of similar to the iron deficiency, but with more speckling. All right. So I wanted to kind of go over those things because a lot of times we talk about these nutrient deficiencies, and then one of the questions that we get is, okay, well, how do I know which one is which? Now, the other thing I want to mention, I want you to probably speak to this more than I will, is CO2. We've mentioned this. We just had a live stream about this about a month ago, but CO2, just real quick, do we need it? Is it necessary? That kind of thing.
We don't necessarily need it because we don't run, we don't have any fancy plants. We have very beginner, easy, low to medium light plants. So
yeah, and again, a lot of what I'm saying can be a bigger problem if you're running CO2, which means now you've got a lot more carbon. And that is often a limiting factor when your plants are in an aquarium in an aqueous solution. There's not as much dissolved CO2. When you start adding it, your plants are going to grow a lot faster, which means they're going to need all of those macros and micros in higher concentrations. And so for those of you who are running CO2, you are probably going to experience these types of shortages a lot more often than someone like us, excuse me, where we are just running regular tanks with no CO2. All right. So keep that in mind. If you've got high light, you've got CO2, you're probably going to be adding a lot more fertilizers. And that's why I always say, when I talk about our particular situation, where I'm like, hey man, we never use liquid fertilizers. We put root tabs in at the beginning and never again. Be careful with that, because you have to understand, again, we're using low to medium light plants, not running any CO2. You change those things up, you could change a lot. Okay, so those are the nutrient deficiencies, but there's other reasons, I suppose, why plants might melt besides that.
Just acclimating. Well, first of all, most of the plants that you get from the aquarium hobby they're going to be sold to you in the immersed state. So they have to transition to the submersed state. And that, can go not too bad. It can go, so like crypts, for example, notorious melters. And sometimes it's, except for crypt parva, what you can do, because they probably are going to melt on you. And that means they just kind of get all slimy and then kind of see through, and then poof, they just kind of fall off, and then you're like, oh my gosh, my plant's dead. No, it's gonna come back. But you can just snip the leaves off, like, I don't know, maybe like an inch away from the rhizome, and then you don't have to look at it. They're just gonna grow all fresh and new.
So why do stores sell the immersed?
Well, they sell them because that's how they get grown. That's how the growers grow them, because they just grow so much faster in an immersed state. So that's kind of how they have to do it. But I'm just going to say, if you have I'm just going to throw this out here.
Okay.
Okay. Might not make a lot of sense to y'all, but if you have problems growing aquatic plants in your tanks and you're really frustrated, say like Bucephalandra, maybe like a nice Bulbitis, Bacopa, one of those, and you get them in, say like a tissue culture, you get them in the immersed state, just put some potting soil in a jar, put the plants in, no water, just keep the soil really moist, put a lid on it. You can see your aquatic plants in their immersed state and just enjoy them that way. In addition to, like, once, I'm just saying, it's a fun way, especially Boost. I have jars of Boost, so I can look at it everywhere. I don't have to worry about it dying.
That could be like the new group. Instead of jars of clay, jars of Boost. Could put one in your hair. Yeah. So, yeah.
That sounds like a shirt to me.
A lot of the farms grow the plants immersed because the CO2 concentrations in air are much higher than in water, as we've kind of already implied. They grow a lot faster, but you are going to get some melting, and you may run into a situation where your plants are going to look very different once they go from immersed to submerged. I'm thinking water sprite, water wisteria, very different looking plant compared to when you actually get them. And I actually think the wisteria looks better after it's converted. It's bigger, it's leafier when it's immersed, but when you submerge it, the leaves aren't as big, but I think they look nicer once they get used to the water. Mm-hmm. There are going to be some times where there is just, you just shake your head. I can give you an example. When we planted, I don't know what happened. We had Anubias all throughout our fish room. We planted this low boy. I did the Anubias Forest 75 gallon on the other side. And I think there was one other tank where I loaded them all up with Anubias and it all died. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just
was awful.
I don't even know how long. I mean, this was Anubias we've had forever.
Yeah.
So same water parameters. Mm-hmm. I'm not even 100% sure what happened. The only thing that I can think of is the sand, because it was growing fine. Both of them had the black sand, like the PetSmart. And I'm not saying that we've had constant issues, but at that time, I don't know if there was something in that sand that they were just like, we don't like this when we're out. And I mean, they died
They
quick.
shocked. I think they just, yeah.
Because it was basically,
It's awful.
leaves were fine, but then the whole leaf with the stem was detaching for the rhizomes, and then the
It was just
rhizomes instantly
melting.
turned mushy. And
They were
got
like, we're going to act like a
nasty.
crypt. We're out of here.
yeah.
And we're like, what are you doing?
And no discoloration, no holes, nothing. They weren't dying from the ends. It was just like, we're shooting all the leaves, including the stems, off, and then the rhizome's dead.
It's
So
tragic.
there are times when stuff like that's going to happen. I would say some pro tips when it comes to substrate. Fluorite, really good stuff, especially as a base layer.
Oh,
What
yeah.
it does is it doesn't have nutrients in and of itself, but it will trap a lot of ions that your plants are going to need. And a lot of what we just talked about, calcium, magnesium, phosphate, these exist as charged particles, and the fluorite basically attracts those and then makes them bioavailable to the plants. Pea gravel will often do that as well. So that is a pro trick there. The pea gravel will also trap some of those ions for you and allow plants to grow a lot better.
And I really do like to add pea gravel right around like the base of the plant too, because it does help to hold it down. If you are even anubias, if you're putting just the roots down of the anubias, maybe you've got a really, mature anubias, you can use some pea gravel like around it to just kind of hold it in place until it starts, growing its own little hands, and it attaches all on its own with its own little muscles.
And keep in mind too, if you are somebody that has softer water, you may have more issues than somebody like us who has harder water. And the hard water means, okay, well, our general hardness and our carbonate hardness there's more of it. And so we're getting more of those ions in the water, more of the minerals in the water. That's going to allow plants to grow. And so if you've got softer water with a lower pH, you may have to add a little bit more. Also, be careful with CO2, because CO2, when you really start pumping it through your tank, can actually mess with your pH. So be careful there, because if you've got soft water and you are trying to buffer your pH, like, oh, I'm pretty good as long as I'm somewhere in the upper 6s to 7, and you start kicking in the CO2 hardcore, you could wind up with a pH that goes down quite a bit. And I've mentioned this before, but that pH, those swings can happen pretty dramatically between when your lights are on and when your lights are off with very soft water. So that's something else to consider. But usually the easiest thing to do is we use nitrate concentrations as a proxy for all the other 8s, right? So nitrate, phosphate, sulfate, because if nitrates are high, chances are those other things will be high as well, because the living things, the shrimp, the snails, the fish in your aquarium, are all producing things like ammonia. They're producing things like sulfate. They're producing phosphorus-based compounds. So when they're producing one, they're probably producing them all. Usually if you have high nitrates, you're going to be sufficient in those other things too. What else did we want to add? Sometimes, if you are not doing well with plants, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Check your fish, right? Think through the stocking options that you've got. So I'll give you a really good example. Many of you know that in many of our aquariums, we have bristlenose plecos. That's fine. I have got no issues with bristlenose, with anubias and buse and crypts and jungle, pretty much everything. But sword plants have such thin leaves where if they're not in an environment where they can grow very quickly, sometimes bristlenose, not because they're necessarily going out of their way to eat the plant itself, but they're just rasping on the surface, trying to get all the biofilms and any algae that's on there, and that can start to break down the plants themselves. So just be a little bit careful there as well. And of course, if you're seeing bite marks, in the way that you would normally see this is, let's say you've got a leaf, like on Joanna's shirt there, an anubias leaf. There's no evidence that the plant is sick, so there's no discoloration at first. There's no holes in the centers of the leaves. It's just a normal plant, normal color, and it's growing fairly well. But you see damage to the ends of the leaf. Usually that means you've got somebody in there that's having a little snack. And sometimes some of these fish, man, they don't mess around. I remember when I got the rainbow cichlids, and I had crypts in their tank when I first, and the rainbow cichlids were small. I had them in a 20-gallon for quarantine. They ate every single crypt inside of like 2 days. I'm like, guys, seriously? Come on, man.
Rude.
Yeah.
Sounds like those
I didn't know they were
snails.
going to do that. The snails that I got for you as a present, that somehow wound up dead, unbeknownst to me, but What were those
things
snails
happen.
called?
I don't know.
They were big. They were like,
And I just kind of
well,
got
they were called,
attached to them
Ring
too.
called them giant ram's horn. And they were really pretty, but they
were-
eat everything
they
green.
eat-
So I didn't want them down here because if they ever had babies and they got out, they would destroy the entire fish room. So we kept them in a tank upstairs. And I
Yeah.
don't think they ever had babies.
Hmm.
They were pretty. They were large. They were very
Mhm.
cool looking, very
They were.
active.
I had just
But-
planned escape specifically
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
I
very
don't know what
sad.
happened. I don't know
Very
what happened.
sad.
I don't.
So why don't we, can we, should we?
I do want to ask a plant question.
Okay.
Has anybody ever had a squishy, yucky looking Anubias rhizome where you're like, oh man, that Anubias is on the way out, and it grows new Anubias from it? I want to know, am I the only one? Because
When it's squishy, I've never had that.
I
mean, I guess
have.
as being paired with you, I've had that before. I've had it because you've had it, so that means I've had it.
True, like technically in the same fish room.
Yeah.
But
In
now
the hunter-gatherer sense of the word.
yeah,
No one's gonna
gotcha.
get that quote.
no, I wouldn't either.
Is it important for us to know what a quilt is in the hunter-gatherer sense of the word?
I don't know.
We'll see. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't
It's just weird. You gotta understand. I mean, most of you know, movie quotes pop into my head at the most inopportune, and there's no reason. There's no link between that movie and what you said. It just popped into my head.
Isn't
I'm
that
sorry.
funny how things just like pop in there? Okay, so thank you,
Thank you.
says yes. It's happened to him
Okay.
a number of times. So yeah,
You get the
it's
cool
the
man
craziest
points.
things. That's probably why Anubias is the coolest plant. Ooh, because it's
It's
amazing.
a pretty cool plant. Yeah, I'm
It's
looking forward to getting some
amazing.
of these tanks finally done in the fish room here.
It's gonna
And
be a good feeling,
I-
especially if you don't kill them all. Although
all these tanks
I
are up
do-
and running. There's nothing I'm like tearing down.
I was gonna say, the major concern for like killing, if you're just like, I just don't want to kill plants, I don't want to buy it, flush your money down the toilet. A brand new scape, everything new, that's going to be your trickiest part. So if you're afraid of killing plants, get your tank up and running. Wait a little while. You can put a couple plants in there. Choose wisely. Get some cheaper plants. Put them in there if you're not sure they're going to make it or not, and then slowly add some. So never again will we set up a brand new scape and put all of our prized Anubias in there. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
goodbye.
Goodbye, Anubias. Noel
Goodbye.
says, now the topic
Noel.
chat is finished, it's time to re-ask all those great questions after the giveaway because they're about to get
Oh.
lost. So,
Oh, that's
thank you,
right.
Noel, for reminding
Giveaway.
everybody. Okay, here's what we're
Thanks,
doing.
Noel.
Today's episode is sponsored by Fritz Aquatics. FritzAquatics.com. Check them out for all of your aquarium needs. No, they're awesome. We have been partnered with Fritz Aquatics for years, and it's because we love their stuff, man. I mean, yes, this is
And
what we're
we
giving
love
away. So
them.
we're going to be giving away the master test kit for either fresh or salt water. And I've said this a million times, but I love this thing because compared to other liquid test kits on the market, I love the fact that the pH is just one test. There's not a low pH and a high pH. I find that their color charts are a lot easier to compare to the actual colors that you're getting, and the directions are actually something where you don't need these plus a magnifying glass plus a telescope to actually read in case you're doing it for the first time. So this is what you're winning. And yeah, Fritz Aquatics has awesome stuff. I mean, their claim to fame, I think, was the Fritzime 7 that we've talked about many times, the live nitrifying bacteria that you really should just have on hand in case you ever have an issue with an aquarium, especially if it's multiple aquariums. You're like, man, usually I just use cycle filter media. You grab that stuff, you can keep it in the fridge. It will last even longer than it normally does. So let me get all of the
And to answer all the
things.
questions, y'all, whoever are asking, yes, I'm feeling much better, especially since I gave it to him, because sharing is caring.
Yeah.
I passed it along to him over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's basically what
Said,
happened.
here you go.
All right, can you reveal to me? All right, so here's the dealio. Many of you know this who have been here, that we're going to be doing the number thing.
All messages.
Yep. And
all messages.
the number that you're going to want to pick is the second person that picks the correct number between 40 and 50. You can go ahead and start typing your little heart away. It's the second person that gets the right
on our
number.
screens, not your screens.
Yeah,
Our screens.
on our screens. Oh, There, we're done. We are, wow.
Are we done?
We're done.
Who picked 6? That's funny.
We're done, man.
Let's see here.
Oh, that's too bad. It's kind of funny, actually.
Is it? Why?
Because look, so
First I have to get
here's
my
when
number
I
here.
said this.
Yeah.
So, all right. I see this.
Are you on all messages?
Yeah. Right here. So look, we go boom, 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 boom. That's
Nope.
one.
Nope.
Oh wait. Oh here. Oh wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong number.
Yes, you are. That's why I was like, what are you? What in
Sorry.
heaven's
Okay,
name are you even doing?
Hold on.
Okay, now I
Hold
gotta
on.
I gotta
I
redo.
messed us up.
So now I lost my space.
Yep.
Okay, I
is
finally
what happens.
go. We're old, you know.
Yeah.
It's just gonna take a minute.
Oh wait. So it's here.
Where are you? I don't think that's what I had.
That's one. That's two.
Hold on a second.
Come on, bro.
Unless I can't read that far. Hold on. 1. And then we've got. Okay, where are you at? No.
Yes.
No.
I
Oh.
say go. And
Wait a
then
second. Wait a
We
second.
go one.
I understand.
two.
I understand what you're saying.
And then it's
Okay.
the same
No, I
thing.
missed that. Okay, you're right.
My gosh.
You're right. You're right. I know you're right. Okay. Yeah, I totally missed that.
All right, you're gonna have to read it though. So go ahead, reveal the number, which is. Go on.
Hold on a second. I
Go.
need my glasses here.
Mm-hmm. You ready?
41.
41. And the
41. We
winner.
got the second person, and that is Philip. Philip Owiska?
11.
11.
She's
Yeah.
doing the best she can. Anyway, if you're here, you've won, and you need to send an email with your name, full
Mhm.
name,
Mhm.
and address, mailing address to Primetime Giveaway.
Singular.
Primetime Giveaway at yahoo.com, and
Mhm.
we will take care of the rest.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
my 10 takes, Jason is sounding like a diva this evening. Hey, you know what? Sometimes.
Thank you. Right? Sometimes he is.
It's just the way you have to be with people. Otherwise, you know what?
Oh, Cody says my message didn't send after I typed it. Do you know how many times I do that
Oh,
in the chat
snap.
and I realize later that I didn't send it, so I'm sending it like hours later?
And it's not even like relevant to what they're talking about anymore.
Pretty much, yeah.
So
Probably like,
how
what
many
are
of you
you
do
talking
this? Maybe you're doing this as you're watching this right now, or you'd have to watch it later, a little bit later. You have to be like, so I'll go on to a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll make a comment. But I will never go to a live stream and watch it from where the live stream is. I always go to the beginning. So if I'm 25 or 30 minutes late to a live stream
Mm-hmm.
and I start watching it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you make a comment about something that they were talking about at the beginning, but
Oh,
they've
yeah.
since moved on. They're like,
I
that
know.
was like a half hour ago. And you're like, well, I don't care. I still
Like-
wanted to say it.
What's this person
Mhm.
talking about? All right, Noel concurs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. So that one
Discount,
is
double check this.
settled. All right, now, as Noel said, if you have questions, comments, concerns, things you'd like to share with the group and us, please, now is a great time to start typing your little heart away, because
Type them in.
whatever was said before our little thing and before the giveaway is probably not something that we're going to be able to scroll all the way up to. So MM says, I put some 7 in a tank after, so I'm assuming first time 7 in a tank after a partial water change, and it turned the water extremely dark, almost like tea. There's no wood in the tank. Any reason, any ideas on a reason?
That sounds like tannins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody else want to share? I've never ever had that happen. I've never had that,
No.
like Fritzheim 7 can have a smell. People ask all
Yeah.
the time, hey, this stuff is smelling. Is it still any good? Yeah, it's
Mhm.
perfectly fine. It's microbes in a bottle, so they're in the buffers, which helps them not grow while they're in the bottle. But yeah, I've never seen anything turn brown unless it was like
Check
Fritz
the-
has a,
Expiration.
yeah, and Fritz has a like a extract.
Do they
almost like
have like a tannin?
They do. They have a tannin extract,
Okay.
but it should not be happening with Fritzheim 7.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take some, if you still have that bottle, take some and put it in a clear glass and see. And then check the expiration.
Good idea. Good
But-
idea.
I mean, in our house, it would be we pulled the wrong bottle. You just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We're
Oh,
just like,
dang
"Ugh."
it. Yeah. Why is my tank blue? That's not
That's,
Fritz Time
oh
7.
my gosh,
That was Ikex.
that's Mountain Dew. Get
Well,
the fish out. They're all like running around the tank.
Hip hop, you just messed yourself up. I'm not going to lie. You dozed off after work and are just now making yourself dinner. It's 10 p.m.
Oh,
Good luck going back to bed after that.
yeah.
I
I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm too old.
There are times when you're like, if I don't lay down, I'm not going to make it. And then you do, and you sleep for like a solid hour and you wake up. And I guess there's probably two types of people. There are people who wake up from a nap and feel rejuvenated and awesome. I would say 95% of the time, regardless of how long, if I fall asleep during the day, when I wake up, I feel like garbage. Like the rest of the day, I'm just all drowsy
rough.
and groggy.
Yeah. They say, whoever they are, that the perfect nap is 15 minutes long. Now, I have been so tired on many, many occasions that I will fall asleep within that 15 minutes.
You want to hear you guys want to hear a funny story about a nap? There was a time, like there's a stretch of time, I don't know why, but I was getting very little sleep between when I went to sleep and then when I'd have to get up in the morning. And so I would go to school, I would teach my morning class, and then I had about a 2-hour break between my morning class and my afternoon class. And there was a couple times I'm like, I need to lay down. And so in my office, I would just close the door, zonk out. Well, there was one time I set my phone as an alarm, and I was really tired, so I set it for like 10 minutes before class was supposed to start. The alarm went off. I wake up. I have no idea where I'm at. I don't know what day it is. Now I'm at school, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, I'm going on my computer, looking at the calendar, like what day is it right now, so I know what room to go to. But I'm wasting time. I'm still groggy.
Material.
I'm basically staggering. The room was upstairs. The lab was upstairs. So I'm like staggering upstairs. I get there. Everybody's like, it's time to start class. And I'm still trying to figure out what planet I'm on. It was the worst. So, and it can't just be like, okay, guys, I was in my office asleep 7 minutes ago. So give me a second here I felt like Haymitch.
Oh my God.
Right? And
Hunger Games?
in Hunger Games. Give me a minute. I just woke up. Yeah, it was rough. So I learned my lesson. Never do that again. I will just go to class very tired, but at least I still have some consciousness of the continuous nature of the day. Yeah.
Marine Josh says, I'm 30 and I love naps now. See, you've got solid nap material there. Good job.
Hi, 10 Tanks. Y'all, I'm writing a book for beginner fish keepers. I'd love to send you a copy before I publish. So I thought about that kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
and this thing has come along.
I know, you're always talking about doing a book.
But unfortunately now,
I'm doing a book
between ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and all the AI, they can just write it. I mean, the AI can just basically at this point write it. So,
I don't know. I think you could probably tell if AI writes it.
Yeah, I think so. I think what you could do is you'd probably have AI outline it, and then someone who's experienced go through and fix a lot of the stuff. But
I myself am a book person. I like to hold the book.
Yeah.
I don't like to read online. That's dumb. I like to hold it, keep it, put it on a bookshelf. Did he love send you a copy before I publish? That would be cool.
Yeah. Depending on how long it is, whether or not I'd have time to read it,
Oh, yeah.
But
our P.O. Box.
P.O. Box is in the website.
Yeah. If we could remember it, we'd tell you.
Yep. Yeah. It's not an address I have memorized in my brain.
After 7 p.m. I don't know what it is.
Uh-huh. Vince says, have you ever wanted to put King Kong and Godzilla facing off in the Lowboy? Not until you just mentioned it. Now that you put that thought into my brain, that's actually a pretty darn cool idea.
The most fascinating thing about what you just said there, Vince, is Godzilla. Remember when we saw the movie? That affected me when we saw the movie. Why?
I don't even remember the movie.
Godzilla. But when you're watching it,
they were saying the name Godzilla again is not going to help me remember the movie.
But saying it, when they say it in the movie, I'm like, wait, what are they saying? They're saying Godzilla. But obviously it's Japanese character, so they're saying it in beautiful Japanese language. And
I've
it sounds
never
like
seen it in what are you even talking about right
the
now?
movie. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell
Well,
you.
you
But
looked
the
at me
movie
like I've
Godzilla.
seen this before.
I'm sure you were there. You had to
No,
have
I
been
only
there.
watched the cartoon when
But
I was a
anyways,
kid.
they say I'm going to do a really bad job, but it's like Godzilla, Godzilla. And
Eli'd
it's
do
so
a better
beautiful.
job. Yeah.
Yes, I know he would do an amazing job, but it was just so. If you're like,
I just
dumb
watched
Americans say
Godzilla,
Godzilla.
and then Godzilla, the cartoon, had the little baby kid Godzilla.
Mm.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
pretty
that
cool.
was
But
a
I
fun
think there was a
cartoon.
recent Godzilla, but I don't remember. I mean, I remember it being a movie, but I don't really remember any detail. So
Well, didn't affect you like it affected me.
no,
But
no,
anyways,
Godzilla
that
was
would
way
be pretty
cooler
cool.
back in the 1970s.
In the low boy,
Yeah.
Godzilla would win. For
It would-
Sure.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying. Well, the thing is, originally Godzilla was a monster, and King Kong was like basically a giant gorilla, but he wasn't like a monster. And they just keep making him bigger and bigger and bigger until he was like the size of Godzilla. Otherwise it
Kitsuki. That's right.
Yes, thank
That's
you
right.
very much.
Girl
Yep.
88
Yep.
and just us, Reigns. That's hilarious. That's right. Oh my gosh, Vince, you got it. Everybody, Ted.
Yeah.
That's right. Flashbacks.
To what?
It's just funny.
Oh, whatever. John
character.
says, when can I start using Seachem Flourish after planting my aquarium using root tabs? What is this? I'm not.
Well-
Is the Seachem Flourish the liquid?
That's just you're just
I mean,
fertilizing the water column.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it depends if you've got
You're
water
doing two-
column feeders, right?
Yeah,
So if you don't,
you're doing two different
if all
things.
you've got is root feeders, then there's really no need to put Seachem Flourish in the tank itself.
Mhm.
If you have Anubias,
Epiphytes,
yeah, the
the bulbitis, Anubias, Boos,
water sprite, water wisteria, hornwort, guppy grass,
anything that you're attaching or wedging
Then
in rocks. Then
you would do it basically now because
Mhm.
the root tabs are going to do them virtually no good. So it depends on the type of plant, not so much anything else. Do you want to say thank you very much? We got Dennis. Dennis doing the things that he does.
Dennis
thank
doing
you, thank
Dennis
you
things.
for gifting 5 new prime timers a prime timer experience. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. Appreciate it every time. All right, let me see here.
Oh, Johnny Best says, what nutrient does Java Fern like? That would be like the liquid fertilizer.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a
'Cause
epiphyte.
when they do grow roots, it's more for just holding them in as opposed to
Mhm.
sending out massive roots like a crip or a sword plant would.
And Java Fern, my biggest suggestion, put it in a tank you don't want it in. It'll do great.
Yeah. Hal says, what is the best all-in-one fertilizer? I'm assuming the best. Well, I'm not a super great person to ask because we just don't use a lot of fertilizers.
Mhm.
So use what's
I mean,
available to you.
I use upstairs, I use the Shrimply.
Did you use it?
I use Shrimple.
Okay.
Yeah. The Shrimply fertilizer, and
Yeah.
that's from Flip Aquatics. They have a couple different kinds. One is shrimp safe. The other one is, without shrimpies in your tank, because of the copper content, I think it is.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point.
But yeah, my plants are loving life, so.
Vigo says, is fin rot curable? Oh yeah, electric blue acara looks to have it. Part of the tail will grow back. It depends on how bad it is. If it's just starting, that like the tips of the tail are looking a little rough, they sometimes grow back. They don't always look exactly the same as they did when the fish, pre-fin rot. But if it's all the way down to like the base of the body, probably not growing back. What I typically do, depending on how severe it is, I love Maricin Oxy because it is not super harsh on your cycle. It's easy to use and it does a pretty darn good job. If that's not working, then you can go with the Maricin 1s and 2s. But that's usually kind of how I deal with that.
Ted wants to know, what kind of plants are you looking at for the fish room?
I'm a big crip person. So crips of all different sizes, I never get sick of them just because there's such variety in terms of their size, coloration. Some of them are going to just grow close to the ground, just kind of like sprout out almost like horizontally. Some of them are more vertical and they get much bushier and bigger and grow faster.
They come in different
So,
colors.
Yeah. And there's some sources at the swap that we have. John Hornig, he's got these massive crips
They're
and
like
he sells them for a
monsters.
very fair price.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, if you go to a Greenwater swap, and he's also at the Quad City swap, you go to John's booth and trust me, you buy up all the plants as fast as you can because he sells them he's not trying to be a millionaire and he's got a lot of really high quality plants at those swaps. So I will try to find anubias if I can. Buse is always fun, but it's even at the swaps, it can be kind of expensive. Some swords, especially for the larger tanks. I don't like putting swords on anything less than a 75 gallon because even like the 55s, they're not wide enough, and so the swords wind up growing from front to back, and there's really not much you can do about it. So like I said, Joanna, if you could move your head, please. It's blocking the entire sword plant. To give you an idea, that's a plant. It was like this big when I bought it. That's a 125, and it is now filled up about a third of that tank, top to bottom, front to back. So
yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, I might look for some, and not all swords get that way. I would really like to find some corkscrew valve. I would love to find some the Crip spiralis. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Corkscrew valve.
No, corkscrew valve, but Crip spiralis is also.
Oh, the one that we had in the back there. Yeah.
That would be cool. So.
I don't usually see it at the
and
swaps.
if I could ever find the Crinum calamastronum, that would be pretty awesome. But that's a very rare plant that usually doesn't show up at the swaps.
Lynn wants to know, hey Lynn, are you going to Greenwater? Are you going to Greenwater this weekend? Anyways, we're going at some point, probably later, like 11 or something. What is your BBS brand?
BBS.
Where do I get the Northfin food from?
Flip.
What's your Flip Aquatics?
What is your BBS? What's BBS? BBS brand.
I'm sure we're going to be like, duh.
Baby brine shrimp, probably that. My baby brine. That is from Brine Shrimp Direct.
Yeah, and it's got a really cool tin.
Yeah.
I like to plant the tin after it's empty because it's so colorful and beautiful.
And you can get it on Amazon. You can get it directly from Brine Shrimp Direct, like their website, but it actually comes much faster if you just order it off of Amazon, and the price is the same, and you get free shipping.
I have to start hatching that again because
have fun.
I've pretty much wiped out the snail population in my 22 for my puppies, for my
Once
babies.
we get the fish room stocked again, I'm going to start hatching it again twice a day, but there's no reason right now with so few fish
I really
that we have.
want to do Daphnia, though. I really want to try that Daphnia.
Then I suggest you go to Flip Aquatics and get a Daphnia thing.
I got to reach out to them because I'm literally fascinated. Lynn, didn't you try that? Didn't you get a Daphnia culture?
I'm sure there's a lot of people here who
Tell
have a
me.
Daphnia culture.
Anyone? Pipe in. You like them?
Do you have a Daphnia culture?
Are they fun to watch?
Are they fun to watch?
Noel, love a good power nap. I know. It can, you know what? It can be successful. It cannot be successful.
Yeah.
But lately, it's pretty successful
never
for
successful. Me. Although there have been times, especially for those of you, how many of you can relate to this? When your kids were small, either they were in like a daycare or their first year at preschool, and your kids get some type of mutant disease from an alien world, they pass it on to you. It's not a cold. It's not the flu. It's not stomach pain. It is, if I don't go home and lay down and fall asleep immediately, I might die. Yeah. Like there is no second option here. Mm-hmm. And then you get home from work and you lay down for an hour and you wake up, you're like, no, it's gone. It's gone. Whatever they tried to give me, whatever mutation of a virus, bacteria, fungus, protozoa that they tried to mix into my blood, it is now gone. But kids, holy cow, they will bring home some stuff.
At the water change says, wait, go back up a little bit. I always wake up in a panic after a nap, no idea why. Yeah, it generally, especially if you like really hit your REM sleep, you're gonna wake up. You're not gonna know what day it is, where you are, like what season it is. It's just
in fact, if you do wake up and you know all those things right away, then it probably wasn't the best nap in the world. You do want to nap yourself into oblivion. I think if you're gonna do it, don't half butt this thing. Go full on, taking a nap. And when I wake up, I'm not even going to know what plant. I'm not going to even know what year. I'm going to think I'm a 6-year-old kid when I wake up, right? But it's really crazy is when you have super vivid dreams in a nap.
Oh, you're out.
Yeah.
You're totally behind super chats and stuff like that.
Just be quiet. I'm doing my thing. I know what's going on over here. All right, so hold on. Let me scroll on over here. Tim, thank you so much for the super chat. After months of random deaths in my South American cichlid tank, finally figured it out. The worms. Shout out to
It's a
Fritz
bummer.
Expel P. That will absolutely do it. Anything I need to know other than directions, hope it's gone. Yeah, just follow directions. You'll be fine. So that absolutely stinks. Camelina swarms are no fun. Sound Pitch, thank you very much for the super chat as well. Can't gift memberships for my phone, but still want to contribute. Also
Aw.
wish there was a chia pet for a...
Oh, I know.
Oh, wow.
I've thought
Thank you,
it.
by the way.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
You could do it,
Yeah.
right?
I know my brain, like,
Could you do...
my brain could literally 24 hours a day ponder things like that. And I
You
thought,
could do a half a chia pet. Like maybe you could do like one of those weird... Joanna's got these weird... They're just
Don't give away-
creepy.
you're not going to give away any of my projects, are you?
I don't think so. Those freaking heads that you got all around the house.
Head
with the
planters.
Those are just...
They're awesome.
Freaky. They're not
Awesome.
awesome.
Yes, they are. Head
Those
planters
things are staring at
are
me
so
all the time.
fun.
She's got these head planters.
Some of them, their eyes are closed.
No,
They're just like
they're
gazing. Oh,
the
there's one that
creepiest
I
things
want.
in the
that
world. And then she
she's
puts like
this.
headbands on them and stuff, makes them even more creepy than they already are.
It's magical.
No, that is not cool. That is not
They're for
magical.
dressing up. I'm sorry.
It is not
They're
cool.
underutilized in the gardening hobby.
However, you could throw one of those in a tank and maybe put
I thought of it, but the
like
materials
Could
are
you do like a dirt and then like a sand cap with one of those and then just grow
duh.
something out of their head? That would be
Yes.
kind of interesting,
I know.
right?
Don't worry, I
Am
thought
I
about
right
it,
or
but
am
the
I right?
materials are not conducive for that. But yeah, don't worry, I'm working on something. All I need is time.
Garage Gill says, my Denison barb, otherwise known as a roseline shark, has damaged upper and lower lips. They're white, but don't have any fuzz. Good. Almost like he was bitten off, exposing the tissue below. He acts healthy and eating great. Yeah, maybe. Do you have any cichlids in that tank? That would have, because I mean, that's usually how cichlids fight is they bite on the mouth. And so that's it. Yeah, keep an eye on it. That's one where the Myricin oxy, again, would be a definite possibility there. Let me scroll here because you told me I was like all messed up.
Yeah, you are beyond, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got that one, and then did you Joshua?
No.
Joshua, thank you.
Thank you
Super
very
chat.
much.
Can you talk about red plants and anthocyanins? What are anthocyanins?
It's a type of
That's a biology term.
pigment. So you have the anthocyanins. You have chlorophyll, which is green. You've got
I know that.
xanthophyll, right, which is more of a yellowish color. You've got the carotenoids, which are more
Orange,
of a
red?
orange. Yeah.
Carrots.
So I don't know a ton about that in terms of how to accentuate that, other than the fact that probably anytime you've got a plant that's not green or brown, CO2 is definitely going to help along with higher light. And you'll probably want to stay. That's one of those ones where if a plant appears purple or red, they actually could use some of the green light spectrum. As opposed to all these plants we got back here, doesn't make a lot of sense to have green light as part of your light spectrum because it's what's being reflected, although the xanthophylls and the carotenoids and those accessory pigments can utilize that light to a greater extent. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty then. And red plants for me do really great in ponds out in the summer.
Well, yeah, for sure.
They are just like, it's so much fun. So if you ever struggle with them, just wait for summer, get yourself a pond, put some red plants in there, and you're like, I had some red plants sometime.
Dragon Dad, thank you so much for being a prime timer the last 5 months. Feels just like yesterday. 5 months ago does feel kind of like yesterday.
Kind of, right?
It does.
Yeah.
In a weird, kooky sort of way.
That would have been like right before summer was coming. And we're like, oh man, it's starting to warm up. So excited for the summer.
Yeah.
And now it's getting chilly. Chilly Willy.
Yeah.
Willy the penguin.
And Josh, thank you for the other super chat. Where do you see your fish room 5 years from now?
Wow, that's a
Great
fun
question. So it's really hard to say, right? Because I'm no different than any other fish keeper. You have a plan, execute the plan, live with the plan for a while, decide the plan is no longer either viable or interesting, which are both reasons why things change. But
Can I take a guess?
sure.
Tons of quarantine tanks, and we're selling at the swaps.
Oh gosh, man.
Just kidding.
Could you imagine, like
Flip.
3 years from now,
Flop.
like, all right, guys, It's been a fish room long. It's been a gallery and a place to relax long enough. I got to maximize our value here in this space. And so I'm going to go 3 deep, 3 tall, lots of rows of tanks, both sides. I think I can get 300 in here. At one point, we did, I remember specifically when this was still a fish room, I had a fleeting thought of maximizing this space and next door. And I thought we could get around 200 to 300 aquariums down here.
That excess just stresses me out.
Once we would have gotten rid of like the 125s, the 75s, the 55s, and just stayed with tanks that were between 10 and 40 breeders. But no, I don't see that ever happening again. But once I finish the fish room side, 5 years, that probably isn't long enough for me to want to make any changes, because I tend to stay with things a pretty long time. So the fish room has been that way since, a couple years before YouTube started. So it's like 10 years. And the only reason why I'm getting rid of that center area is just so, again, we can enjoy it a little bit more. I don't see this side changing at all. I love what this is. I mean, there's always going to be fish that change. That is just a constant in fish keeping. I'm sure many of you experience that too, where it's like, I want to keep cichlids. I want to keep African cichlids. I'm tired of those. And once that group dies out, you're like, oh, I want to go back to nano and have more of a community feel and keep more varieties of fish. Or then you start kind of going through, oh boy, I sure do miss the medium-sized South American cichlids like the firemouths and that kind of thing. And so there's always this desire to keep fish you haven't kept in a while. Like right now, I have a strong desire to keep a lot of live bears. I have to be very careful with that, because I also do not have any desire to deal with, this is how we wound up at Swaps, is we wound up with so many fry. It's like, what are we going to do with all these fish?
That can be really stressful.
And that just kind of snowballed into what it was up until just a few months ago. So I will have to have a plan if I decide to exercise that desire to do a little bit more on the live bear side again. I don't know, but there's a lot that we have. I mean, we still have 10, what we got? So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We still have 14 aquariums that we have to, well, one's stocked. 2 are stocked. So we still have a dozen aquariums that we have to stock. And because we got the shrimp tank.
That's fun.
We have your tank. Actually, we have the 125, but the 125 needs some additional fish.
What do you mean with my tank?
The 20 long that you've got over there.
What about it?
It's stocked. Like
Oh.
we don't have to redo it or anything.
I thought you were like, and we have to like fix that or stock it. I'm like,
Yeah, we need to fix your
talk to the
tank.
pencil fish if they're stocked. Although I think they need some friends.
Yeah.
Bulbitis. Wait, MC Aquatics. Mine's bulbitis as well. I really wish that I could find some. I haven't seen Rink here. I need some bulbitis because I have a different plan for bulbitis. Although sometimes I find it, I like the ferny bulbitis, not the other one.
Yeah.
The Java, I call it the Java fern bulbitis.
Okay.
Oh, we don't want that.
JR says, any info on, by the way, thank you for the super chat. Any info on the L174 pleco, ocelot pleco? That is not one. I don't think, can you look that up? Let's see if we've ever had that in, because we've gotten some.
174?
Yeah, L174. It sounds somewhat familiar. I mean, I know I've seen them on lists. I can't remember if I just saw them on lists or we had them in at one point.
It's always like bingo, like the numbers for plecos.
I haven't had in the fish room, but like all specialty plecos, it's, if it's costs a decent amount of money, just be aware that, hey, you know what? You might wind up with a fish that likes to hide a little bit.
You
I
see
can
it?
see a reflection.
I know.
You can see us looking at
know.
us, looking at them, looking
like
at us.
Weirdos.
Yeah. What? Oh, wait, hold that back up. Ready? Let's see who gets it. What are we looking at? Now, sir.
Oh.
Now.
I know who should get that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. We've been jammed. Only one person would dare to jam us. We'll see. Someone's got to get that one.
Oh, I know who's going to get that.
Jacob says, what do those Indian leaves do? Indian almond leaves.
They color the water. Okay, so those are one type of botanicals that will give you tannins. Come on, Vince. Come on. Spaceballs. Oink.
Good. Nice
yeah.
job. Nice.
I knew Oink would get it, and I expected Vince to, because
oh my gosh.
it's it's his
It's the guy.
image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Rick Moranis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I know that movie. I know you do, Vince. What were you asking? Sorry.
I don't know, but Michelle's got a question. 15-gallon tank with a betta too small for a pair of Apistos.
I would think. That could go wrong in a hurry, don't you think?
The way that it would go wrong is if they start to breed and they chase the betta up to the top. But if they don't breed,
why wouldn't they breed?
Because because we have hard water and it's really hard for Apistos to breed. So unless Michelle is going to be bringing down the pH and the water hardness, they're probably not. But remember, I had male bettas in a 20-gallon with a group of Pelvicochromis subocellatus, which is a Carbensis type,
right?
Which are very similar to Apistos. I've had them with Apistos.
Yeah, but that was in a 20, not a 5.
No, it's a 15. Come on, man.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. I read it as a 5. I'm thinking a betta with pair.
And
I
I'm
don't
the
think
one
so.
that needs the glasses.
Well, because where I can see it, the 15, the light blue, is right over my green, so it just disappears for a old
Maybe
lady
next time
over
you
here.
won't be so quick to judge. You can just keep your judgmentalness
That's right.
to yourself.
That's
lady.
right. What flavor? What flavored jam was it? What did they jam? Even Malcolm knows.
Raspberry. Yeah. Nobody raspberries me but Lone Star. Yep. I'm a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. Yeah.
Great movie.
Good stuff. All right. Now, Blaster says, any tips on keeping plants with geos? I've got a 4-inch stand substrate, and I have to plant deep. Val, any other plants?
No, they don't like that. They won't like to be planted deep. The Val.
Oh, the Val won't. I'm like, they'll be fine with. So I've done Val with geos. I've got a bunch of. So here, Joanna, move your head. More. You can just leave. No, I'm kidding. So this is a geo tank. There's a half a dozen geos in that 125. So swords, I've got jungle Val. No, because we're still looking. You can just sit there and look awkward. Anubias, especially Anubias, that is going to be glued or tied to rocks and wood. There's crypts in that tank. No issues. Never will be. I've done it multiple times without any problems.
But again, with the Val, if you don't want your critters digging it up, and you can't plant it so deep, that it's going to hold on, just position it between rocks around it so that they can't be swimming by it and stuff.
That's a good advice.
It'll take you a little extra time, probably 2 arms, moving around in there, but.
Yeah, and once the Val gets going, especially if it's like Joanna said, around rocks, around wood, along the back, I never found the geos to want to dig a lot. Yeah, they sand sift, but they're not generally doing enough damage that it's going to matter. So. That's
right. That's another one of my favorites. Vince, you're going to give me the giggles here. What's the matter, Colonel? Chicken? Yeah. Remember that?
Colonel Sanders?
Yeah. But that quote, that specific quote.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I could quote that movie all night.
I know, he really could.
Vince, we could go back and forth and probably recite the movie from the time it starts to the time it ends because I am an expert quoter of said movie.
Oh,
Holy
Noel's back.
Cow.
I'm back. Need to chat with my mama.
Is in the house and just
Norfin.
Made 10 new prime timer fetuses. Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
Don't call them primetime fetuses. Please don't. It's so weird. Just babies or something.
Primetime zygotes. How about that? Thank you, Norfin, for making 10 new primetime zygotes. And they're going to grow and develop into wonderful prime timers, whatever that looks like. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Glad you're here hanging out with us. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, Bloomington. Yeah, I heard there was a swap in Bloomington. It's small. But, hey, it's a swap in your area. Why not go?
Give it a shot.
The more people that go, the more vendors are going to want to be there. The more vendors are going to be there. The more people are going to show up. And pretty soon, you'll have the biggest swap in Southern Illinois.
And you know what I always say about a small swap? A small swap is better than no swap.
You always say that?
No, I just made it up.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm not sure I've ever heard you say that. But if you want to say you always said it on live TV.
It was October
23rd,
2025. I said it.
No. Oh, yeah.
It's today. I said it. I'm just saying. I'm putting it for the record.
It's a little late. Oh, no, October 23rd. I thought you were going to do, and then he asked me what day it was. It's
Oh.
October 3rd.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah. We'll see who gets that one. And then he asked me what day it is. It's October 3rd.
Yinzer's Aquatics says we have a new fish store opening. I was thinking on breeding again to try to grow the hobby and move fish in my area. Any suggestions? The store is big and looks to rival the co-op. Not looking for a moolah.
I think they would probably appreciate Cory cats other than the albinos. So, especially if you can somehow do the Venezuelas. Adelphi are really tough to breed, but those would be hugely popular, I would imagine. Salt and pepper Cories. Habrosis would be awesome. Pygmy Cories. So if you want to take the time to do it, do what people don't do. And that is a lot of the Rasboras, right? Those are not easy in the sense that, yeah, it's not hard to get them to breed, but feeding the fry and growing them up can be a little bit more problematic. But those are fish that if you're a pet store, anybody can keep Rasboras. You need a 5-gallon tank for some chilies, right? Anybody can keep Cory cats. If you got a 20-gallon tank, they're super peaceful. So those are fish that the vast majority of customers walking into a pet store are going to want to buy. It's the same reason why we sold those at Swaps, because they were fish that as long as you've got a tank with water, most people have the space to keep them.
Mm-hmm. So wait, Vince is trying to get to Davenport too. So wait, Vince, are you like around here? Are you like Illinois?
No, he's in Oregon. He's just going to drive it.
Do it. Drive from Oregon. That'd be cool. And then wait, John Prang says, finally found a pair of Splendens. The color is great. Hoping they get along with the transvestitis. Well, Splendens are like gorgeous.
Yeah, they are.
I wonder, do you think they're going to get along?
Wait, what was the combination?
The Splendens.
With?
Transvestitis. So nanos with nanos.
What size tank?
What size tank, John?
I'd want, if I was going to mix the two, I would probably want something like a 40 breeder or bigger, just because they are such gorgeous fish, and I don't want to have any problems. And if they could breed and have their own space, that's like a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody's winning on that one.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, Noelle, that's pretty funny. I did note that. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know
Did
what I'm talking
anybody
about.
get the?
Oh,
He asked me what day it was. It's October the 3rd.
uh,
Just Us says,
No.
I have a 75-gallon tank, but the stand can't accommodate an FX series canister, even a 407. However, it can accommodate a 307. Will that work alongside an AC 110? 100%. Yeah. I've got 407s running in both the 75s, and I've got that 75 is filled with Mbuna cichlids, which is pretty heavily stocked, and that thing is kept up just fine. So your 307 should be fine. I mean, if you were with a Aqua Clear 110, you're not going to have any issues. More than enough.
Vince is West Illinois.
So that's
Best part
that's
of
the
Illinois,
area.
basically. You know what I mean?
Wow, you just set up a whole
Oh, because it's a nice
regional
area.
thing going on there.
It's a nice area.
It
It's
is a
not,
nice area.
You know, that's where we like to,
Yeah.
ride and stuff.
Northland says, hello, what's going on? All right, I'm scrolling around here.
Oh, and
Yeah, that's a good point. If you can make it to Davenport, Iowa, the Quad City fish swap will be 510.
always, yeah.
Quad
It's
City is
big.
massive, and it's
It is.
free. That's what's so cool about it. It's a very I enjoyed going to the Quad City swap as a vendor. I mean, they did a very good job. It was extremely organized.
Yep.
They've usually got, I don't know, they've switched now to the 3rd place in the last year, but it looked, from the pictures I saw, it looked very, very nice. And usually they have food and things to drink and all that stuff. It's free to get in. I absolutely love that when swaps do that. So if you can get to the Davenport area, it's worth it. There are people that come from all over the place: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, right? So all over the place.
Will assassin snails survive in low temps?
Depends on how low. Room temperature is perfectly fine. I'm sure they would do okay in the 60s. I wouldn't think anything of it. But if you're talking like 40s and 50s and you're leave them outside, I don't know. I've never tried it before. Maybe.
Oh, and Mr. Skip wanted to know, you're speaking in Milwaukee?
Yes, and that is next month, and I'm going to start talking about that soon. But so I talked to the folks in Milwaukee a while back about doing that, and I don't know where that last communication went, like the last email thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a date in the calendar for the end of November.
Okay.
I don't
all
remember
you-
what I'm speaking about or any of the details. So as soon as I get that, if you are interested in going to a fish club meeting and hearing me
Cool.
talk about something, that is going to happen in the Milwaukee area at the end of November with details to come. So thank you, Mr. Skip. Yeah. So I just need to figure that out.
Yes.
Yes, Noel.
Yeah.
Prime time zygotes.
I already wrote it down. That's what I was saying. No, I got it, man. I already wrote it down. That's funny.
What's even funnier,
Is that I can't be one.
do you know what a zygote is?
No, but I'm assuming he's like a baby.
She's so cute. That's why I married her. You don't need to know what a zygote is.
Okay.
But you're right. You're not that far away.
Look who got Mean Girls. Emma got Mean Girls.
Okay.
And so did, who else got Oink, of course. Yep.
Are
Oink got it.
people's usernames different? Because why is Emma say Corey Cat and then Dennis's was different? Remember when
Yeah,
that happened like
Dennis
a while? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and
So
I
every
think
once
you
in a while
can
it
go
just
in there
comes-
too, and you can change it. Because I did for one of mine.
Yeah.
I changed it with, it had a number after it, and it bothered me. So Noelle at one point had even said like how you can go in and change it back
Okay. Yeah,
or
yeah. I remember that.
take out the
remember
weird
that.
numbers or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Blaster. If I didn't already use Northfin for all my needs, they would have just gained another customer.
Aw.
Very cool. Yep, that's what we do
Yeah.
here. It's all Northfin for
They're
us.
nice folks.
All right, I'm scrolling. Hold on. I thought you said that there was
What did I
a
say?
comment here.
Oh, Gravedigger. Gravedigger's going to be
so-
at Bloomington Swap as well.
Very
Oh,
cool.
okay. You like the Bloomington Swap? Have you been there before?
Well, it just
curious.
started.
Oh, it's literally just the first?
I think so.
Oh.
They used to have one down there, and then it either moved or
Mhm.
didn't do it anymore, and then there's
Okay.
another one down there. Craig says, my home is too far away from fish events. Sometimes that's not a bad thing as long as you're in the middle of nowhere. Then you're like,
Then you
it's
have
worth
that
it
going for you.
sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. Blaster says, my local fish store was upgrading from a 4-foot old school Fluval 1.0 with the remote to new Higers today, and I got 6 of the Aqua Skies. $10.
Wow.
That's a deal right there. You got to
Wow.
take
Good
that deal.
timing.
Nice. For you, have you ever kept a stem plant called
Persicaria.
Persicaria?
What kind?
Like, you get the craziest stuff. Like, where
Yeah.
are you going where you find
Where
all
did you
this
get
stuff?
your, just so you know.
auction. Ah, okay. Now it's all
Oh.
making sense.
Have I ever had it? No.
I'd love to see your
You'll
tanks.
have to let me know how you like it. I know your white Anubias is the bane of your existence. Well, my white boost, and I knew what would happen. I took a few and I put it in my 3-gallon. I knew it probably wouldn't do so well, and I've only got 1 of 5 that's really kind of still kicking it. I'm just letting it, do its thing. Maybe it'll come back like Anubias, but we'll see. But they're kind of stinkers.
What type says I like the 33 long more than the 40 breeder? Oh, I agree. I would agree with that. I actually did a video one time where I compared the 33 long and the 40 breeder.
Mm-hmm.
And then not that long after I did it, they stopped making the 33 long. But I hear it's back. In fact, I know it's back because we were at a pet store and there was some there. And that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mike says, are you referring to Mean Girls? All right, we got the Mean Girls. Yeah,
Yep.
October 3rd. That's right. Here's one for you. Tim says, any trick on Anubias hostifolia? Bought a huge one, and they look awesome in a 135-gallon tank, and hope it does well. What's the tricks? Any tricks? Any special things?
For Anubias hostifolia?
Or just throw it in the tank, glue it down, secure it,
Yeah.
don't give it a ton of light, and
Right.
I
Talk nice to
never
it.
have found it necessary to fertilize Anubias because they grow so slowly. They don't take in tons of nutrients, and most of the time your stocking is going to take care of all of their food needs.
And generally speaking, they're going to do better with less light than more light. So if you're, not sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can say is if you've bought it probably immersed, or however you've purchased it, and you want it to grow, because some of these larger ones, like the coffee folia, it will grow out of the water. just throwing it out here. If you ever want your Anubias to grow out of the water, make sure it's under the water first and let it grow out of the water.
Yeah.
You can't really just get an Anubias, bring it home, stick it out of the water, and unless, of course, it's domed or something. But
Yeah. Good point. Tim says, I see a trip to Aquatics Unlimited coming up. Yeah, because that's in the Milwaukee area.
yeah,
Great
I know.
fish store. Haven't been there.
There's
I have not been there since
couple.
they updated it, and I need to get over there.
There's a couple places that I think we should combine. What was the other one? Aquatics Unlimited I was thinking of just today. And there was something else in the Milwaukee area.
So Noel recommends, when it comes to knowing what a zygote is,
Okay.
you should watch STEM Nerds, the YouTube channel.
I don't
What do you-
understand the language that he speaks on there.
STEM Nerds
doesn't
is
talk
my
about any kind of
biology,
art.
science-based. So all you super sciencey super nerds, STEM Nerds is the place for you.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I really don't. And you know what? I'm okay telling you that.
You know what? I'm just fine. You says, does North America have fish competitions like discus arowana? They do, in the sense that a lot of the club run events, for instance, the ACA, when I went to the ACA, whatever that was, the American Killifish Association, the International Betta Congress was there, American Live Bear Association was there. All of those groups, with the exception, oddly enough, of the ACA, did fish shows / competitions. The OCA, which is done in Ohio Cichlid Association, their extravaganza has a massive fish competition. The Keystone Clash that just happened probably has the largest overall fish competition that I've ever seen, because it's all fish. And of course, they have the different brackets and categories. So yeah, but it's usually at those. The aqua shells, when they first started, would do flower horns, shrimp is always one there. There's always a shrimp competition, and all those other ones as well, for the most part, except for the OCA. But yeah, that's usually how they happen, is with those various club sort of events. And a long time ago, when I was more active in the Greater Chicago Cichlid Association, we would do a bowl show, which is kind of like a mini competition. We would break it up into categories, and people would bring in their fish, members would bring in their fish, and then everybody would vote. It wasn't massive. I mean, there'd only be usually like a half a dozen entries, but still fun. But they stopped doing that just because it was kind of cumbersome to get the fish in and out and all that stuff.
Mr. Skip said, I'll text Mike at MK Aquarium Society to drop you a line.
That would be awesome. I would
Thanks.
very much appreciate that, so that I could
For old
know
man over here.
what it is I'm doing, what it is I'm going to, with words that are going to be coming out of my mouth. I mean, I can just go there and make it up as I go, but that's not as entertaining as someone who's got a plan and a thought, I think. So yeah, like the location, all that stuff would be really awesome to know. So I'm not just driving around and be like, all right, I'm in Wisconsin. Let's just go ahead and look for this thing that we're supposed to be at. Yeah. Al says North Bend is great for great tiny foods for tiny mouths. Yeah, the
I
fry
love it.
starter.
Yeah.
And even just smashing up some of those pellets like we talked about when we were talking about how to feed fish and the flakes and all that stuff. Yeah.
Do we have fry starter?
Yes, we do. Upstairs.
We do?
Yeah. They're in the smaller packets, but we have it.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. That'll be one. Maybe we'll do that giveaway, if not next week, the week after.
Because
North
I
Bend giveaway.
I
Yeah.
really, I don't want to jinx it, but I really think my heteroandra formosa little lady, I think she's getting ready.
She's with child. She's with
Children's.
zygote.
Babies. She's with
Anyway,
babies,
to
I
answer
think.
your question, and for everybody else who's curious, a zygote is a fertilized egg. So that's what it is. That's
It's a
what
baby.
Northfin made when he donated 10 prime timer memberships. He made 10 zygotes. Yeah. It's true. It is true. All right, let's see here. Emma says 33, still your dream tank.
I know.
Yeah, like I said, at least I
know.
think they're out there now, right? Oh, look who's here. Look
here?
who's here.
Faye the Faye.
Yep.
Hi.
Glad you're here, even if it's a little late. You'll have to do the thing that we were talking about, like scroll all the way back to the beginning. In the beginning, they said a bunch of stuff.
Fish Factory. That's right.
Oh, yeah, that was one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's in the
We
area
should,
too.
yeah, that's
I like that
that's on the
place.
way up north.
Yeah.
Totally should stop there.
Yeah,
It's
Fish
right on the
Factory and
way.
Aquatics Unlimited. That's the cool thing about Milwaukee is they have those two, and there's a couple other pretty nice ones. In terms of all the places we've been, Milwaukee, very strong when it comes to fish stores. The Cleveland area, very strong. Chicagoland area, I would say, is pretty good. It used to be better, but we've had some fish stores closed lately. That's like, ooh, that kind of hurt, especially when Aquatics closed.
Yeah, that's
but still pretty decent. But then I've been to places where it's like, what is going on here? Remember we went to Fort Myers? And I was like, we really struggled to find a fish store there. I think we did. We found one or two, but I mean, we drove around all day, and it was like, when we went to San Antonio, that was very, very weak in terms of fish stores. So there's opportunities out there in the world, for sure. Oh, Al News zygote is a fertilized egg. I like it. Okay, there's people here with some knowledge. Yep. Jacob says, how to stop severums, I'm assuming, from hurting each other? Separate them. That's once they start exhibiting that dominant behavior, there's not a whole lot you can do. You could try the line of sight blocks, but they're really big fish, and so unless you've got an 8-foot tank with those line of sight blocks, it's probably not going to work. If it's a 75 or a 55 or something like that, or even a 125 can be tough, especially if it's a green severum, because green severums, in my experience, have been much more aggressive than other types of severums. So, all right, what do you say? Should we call it an evening? Because I'm sure there are sleepy people out there. A lot of people who didn't get to take a nap today and probably want to just take an all-night nap, right?
All-night nap.
So thank you for being here. Thank you to all the people with the super chats and the donation of Prime Timer Zygotes. And thank you for all the questions and our moderators and everybody else. And we will be back same time, same place next week. If we didn't get a chance to answer your question, save it, write them down, bring it next week, and we will do our best to answer as many as we can. You all have a great week and a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Night.